सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Happy Vijayadashmi to everybody. It has been my intent to speak on Sri Suktam for a while, especially during the Navaratri, before or after. After many years of effort, I think this time it just clicked in the right time, and I guess this is what was her wish. Suktas are a set of mantras from the Vedic literature. All the Vedic literature are usually referred to as mantras. Itihasa, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Purana, the 18 Puranas and the 18 Upapuranas, and all the Smriti Granthas, they are usually referred to as shlokas. So the mantra aspect is all the mantras of the Vedic literature are apaurusheya. They are not authored by one single person, and it is assumed that it was given by the Lord himself. As the work gets bulkier in its presentation, indexing it becomes a difficult task. If you have referred to the encyclopedias, to have a reference, cross-reference within the voluminous work, it requires a very sophisticated system of indexing. Similarly, the Vedic literature is so vast that it took a great visionary to index and compile the entire Vedic literature. And the attribute goes to none other than sage Vyasa. That is why he is known as Veda Vyasa Maharshi. Among the rishis, he is the one who has taken that great effort. So the way he has indexed the entire Vedic literature is he has first put them in 4 books. Each book being called Rig Veda, the first book. Yajurveda, Yajurveda has 2 parts to it, part A, part B. It is called Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda. Then the third book was named Samaveda, and the 4th one is the Atharva Veda or the Atharvana Veda. These are the 4 main main Vedas. There are auxiliary Vedas, Upavedas, and there are Vedangas. These are the limbs of Vedas. But the books are mainly 4. Now, when you open say Rig Veda, the entire Vedas, each book is divided based on themes, thematic expressions. So, all of them have been compiled under one theme, and each theme has been called as a samhita. So, there is Sudarshana Samhita, there is Rudra Samhita, various samhitas. So, these samhitas are the representation of a theme, and each samhita is further divided into 4 categories. Those 4 categories are the mantra, brahmana, then the aranyaka and the upanishad. There are no further classifications in there. Maybe there are chapters in each one of them, but there is no further classification. And since the indexing ends with Upanishad, Upanishads are also known as the ending part of Vedas, Vedanta, Vedanam Antaha, the last portion in the indexing. Mantra is a formula. The understanding of that formulas or the formulae is in the Brahmana. Brahmana here is not Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra, Vaishya or Vaishya Shudra. It is not the caste system. Brahmana here means expertise. So, the expertise on each one of these mantras mentioned in the first part is further elaborated in the Brahmana portion. And there were great sages, rishis, who did further research into it. If Brahmana itself can be called as a doctorate, the further research is postdoc. So, the postdoc is known as the Aranyaka. Arani means tree, Aranya means a gathering of all these trees, so forest. Aranyaka, that which was researched in the solitude of a forest, usually in a solitude, secluded place. They took each portion of this mantra, Brahmana, and then did extensive study. Various aspects, various dimensions of this mantra was explored, and that is called the Aranyaka. Brahmana itself is an expert, but further research on it, nitty-gritty details that were given in the Aranyaka. Whatever be the theme of the Samhita, the final culmination of each Samhita ends in the Vedanta or Upanishad. That should be the final culmination of any study, any branch of study should lead to that Vedantic perspective. So, Vedantic knowledge or Upanishadic knowledge talks about one truth alone, and there are no beating around the bush. It is a straight thought. It is often so straight that we need so many explanatory efforts to decipher the meaning of each mantra of Upanishad. Of course, the entire Veda is like that, but specifically so of the Upanishads. Smaller the Upanishad, greater the effort. So, I was recently at a place, and for next year's calendar, they were saying, why don't you speak on Mandukya Upanishad? I said, why did that inspire you to ask me this question? So I said, oh, it is the shortest one. We can do a mini yagna, 3 days yagna, so that you can cover those 12 mantras, 4 on each day. So that should really suffice. So I then sat him down and gave him the various aspects of it, which finally boiled down to 7 volumes. Okay, then that should be taken as a camp for 2.5 months. Yes. Now you get the picture. The smaller it gets, the greater is the importance. Other than these Upanishads, within the Vedas, there is this portion called Khila. Khila is like the annexure or the appendix. After they have given all the mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad, there are some which enhance and can be used in any portion of mantra, any portion of Brahmana, any portion of Aranyaka or the Upanishad to bring out a better understanding. So that portion is called a khila. And a compilation of all these khilas together are the suktas. The most famous one of these suktas are the Purusha Sukta and the Sri Sukta. What does a Sukta mean? Ukta, said. Sukta, well said. So it is almost like saying Wah. Translated into English, wow. A good wow. After coming into this country, my vocabulary has taken for a toss, has gone for a toss. Because the Brahmana, when we don't understand it, we think that it is a caste system, but it has a different meaning. Similarly, in this country, wow has a different meaning altogether. So, telling somebody that my first experience, that I had a massive car accident. I landed in US and I was welcomed with an accident. So I call that my big bang entry. So when I was saying that the car was really tossed up and down, and almost everybody who reacted to it reacted with, wow. I used to feel really troubled within. Abhe teri, I am saying something so dangerous, and for you it is wow. I'm thinking from the Indian wow. In India we use it wow for only as good wow. For good things we use wow. Here you have to qualify it, a good wow, bad wow, or an indifferent wow. When you don't find it interesting, then also you say it, wow. The way you say it, you have to catch it. That is an indifferent, totally distasteful wow. So here it is a good wow, suktam, wow. What a brilliance, what a brilliant way of saying it. Uktam, well said. Well said about what? So, many of us with our Indian native languages, vernacular languages that we have, we immediately tend to confirm that Purusha Sukta means it is about the Purusha, male. Sri Sukta, it is about goddess. And that very understanding of Purusha and Shri, and some people don't even say it as Sri Sukta, they say it as Tri Sukta. So please correct your vocabulary, it is not Tri Sukta, it is Shri Sukta. This I tried explaining even in the Ganesha Atharva Sirsha Upanishad. It doesn't hurt to reiterate it again. Vedantins call the Supreme as Paramatma. So we believe in one homogeneous mass of consciousness. We call that as Paramatma. And the amazing part is, we try teaching this to our Balavihar kids right from kindergarten. That is the first shloka we teach. Guru Stotram, first shloka. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam. And that message is consistent throughout. Akhanda mandalakaram. Akhanda. Khanda, broken, fragmented. Akhanda, unbroken, homogeneous. Mandalakaram, homogeneous mass of what? Consciousness. Paramatma we call, Parabrahma, Paramatma. But different worshippers who start from the worshipping of a particular form, they worship that particular form also as a supreme, because that form is nothing but an expression of that supreme alone. So many times in different platforms, where they are not just Hindus sitting, when I get asked, is according to Hinduism, do you define God as monotheistic or polytheistic? I say that your options are not sufficient. When you have a multiple choice, you should have C and D also. C another choice, D none of the above. So I said we have a third choice. And what is the third choice? There is one monotheistic God principle called Parabrahma Paramatma. And that Parabrahma Paramatma expresses in polytheistic forms, in multiple formats, without becoming many. Now go figure, that without becoming many confuses them. In Hindu culture, Guruji puts it very beautifully. He gives an example. Hindu culture is a book. In that book he says that a doctor got a call. His nurse took the appointments, and this was back in India. So the doctor paid a home visit. The luxury there. Here you call, they don't give an appointment even if you are in the verge of excruciating pain. They say after 1 month you have an appointment. So the doctor, the nurse was taking the call. So the first call, my husband is in a severe pain, come. Then there was a small kid, he called and said, my dad. So the nurse, there were 3-4 calls from the same house. So the nurse said there must be something very infectious in that family. There are 4 people affected. A husband, a father, a son, and a brother. 4 people are infected, they are severely in pain, so go prepared. So the doctor came in and he was shown only 1 patient. Where are the other 3? I said, what other 3? So there is a husband, there is a brother, there is a father, there is a son. Where are all of them? I became many without becoming many. You understand the concept now? So that Parabrahma Paramatma can express in various forms. And of all these various forms expressed, the most worshipped ones, there are 5 of them recognized. There are multiple, but of them the most prominent ones are these 5. Vaishnava, Shaiva, Shakta, Ganapatya, Saurya. Vaishnava are the worshippers of Vishnu. Shaiva are the worshippers of Shiva. Shakta are the worshippers of Devi. And Ganapatya are the worshippers of Ganesha. And Saurya are the worshippers of Bhagavan Surya. And each one of them refer to Parabrahma Paramatma with a different nomenclature, different name. And when we read, not understanding that simple fact, different Puranas, even a Hindu gets confused. And that ends up being fanaticism. The Vaishnava recognize Parabrahma Paramatma as Narayana. Narayana's aspect coming into the form taking care of sustenance, maintenance is Vishnu. And Vishnu's avatara are the, various Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha. These are the avatars of Vishnu. This is how the Vaishnava would think. The Shaiva call that Parabrahma Paramatma as Sadashiva. Even in our shlokas we chant, right? Because most of the avatars of Lord Shiva are Guru. So we start there saying Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. The aspect of Parabrahma Paramatma, or the nomenclature, the name for Parabrahma Paramatma is Sadashiva. Shakta recognize it as Adi Parashakti. And she expresses as Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati and various other forms. Kalika Devi, Bhadra Kali, various formats that she expresses. Chamunda Devi, you must have gone there, right? Chamunda Hills near Mysore. Vaishnav Devi, the various aspects of that Devi, but from the supreme standpoint she is recognized as Adi Parashakti. Ganapatya call it as Mahaganapati, Saurya call it as Surya Narayana. So when we are reading through these suktas, Puranas and various literature that we have, it should not be confusing us that they are talking about feminine aspect in Sri Sukta. Shri from the absolute standpoint is nothing but Parabrahma Paramatma alone. So there is a blend. Wow, I mentioned Shri and there is a source for Shri. Shri means Parabrahma Paramatma, meaning Adi Parashakti. And that Adi Parashakti does not have any form or attributes to that form. That's why we call that Parabrahma Paramatma as Nirguna Nirakara. No gunas, no attributes and no form. And that which is not limited by a form or an attribute can always express in any form that can be conceived of. So Sri Sukta has an amazing blend of both aspects. Nirguna Nirakara Tattva is also explained and Saguna Sakara is also explained. Within each mantra, there are both aspects that have been revealed. And it also has been those who have been initiated into the Shri Puja Vidhana. There are other revealing aspects of Kundalini, the Chakra, Shat Chakra Prayoga. Then the Sri Sukta also talks about the Avarana Puja, the Shri Yantra or the Padma Mandala as it is called. There are different layers. We see the yantra as a flat cut out on a copper or something and we see it flat. But actually it is a three-dimensional, what should I call it, form. So it has a three dimensions to it. There are different layers. There are 9 layers. That also can be explained. So there are various aspects that are ingrained into this beautiful mantra. Remember I was talking about the Khila Suktas, those which come in the end as the appendix. These Khila Sutras, a collection of all these Suktas, are called Mandala. I have given you the indexing of the Vedas. Now I am talking about the indexing of the appendix called Khila. Within that Khila there are Suktas and a collection of these Suktas are called mandalas. Totally there are around, in Rig Veda itself, there are around 1028 suktas, of which we learn maybe 5 suktas. We learn Purusha Sukta, Sri Sukta, Durga Sukta, Medha Sukta and Narayana Sukta. There are still 1023 more to learn, only of the Rig Veda. So, there are 1028 suktas and a total of 10,552 mantras. All of them put together, it has a collection of 10,552 mantras, divided into 10 mandalas. Collection of these suktas is called a mandala, and there are such divisions of 10 mandalas. The Purusha Sukta, it comes in the 10th mandala, 60th mantra, that is the Purusha Sukta. In fact, the first mantra, Agnimi ide purohitam. Do you know a strange fact about this mantra? When the first recording instrument was created, who invented the recording instrument? Was it Bell? Edison? I am talking of the gramophone. So, he wanted to invite something very prominent to be recorded as a first sound, and he knew that Max Muller had done a lot of research in various cultural studies, various studies on different scriptures. So, he called him and he had a big sabha, big kind of an congregation gathered, and then he said, today will be the marking of a great step in science. This will be the first recorded sound. And by that time Max Muller had been really old, and he had changed his perspective in his later years. And when he was requested to come and utter the first few words, he ended up singing the first mantra of the first mandala of the Rig Veda, and that was Agnimi ide purohitam. So, first ever recorded sound is this mantra, which comes in the first mandala, first mantra. Now, this particular Sri Sukta is found in the 5th mandala, the last portion of that mandala. The last mantras is the Sri Sukta, and this Sri Sukta is also called, it falls under the Atreya mandala, the mandala that it falls in. And this is all for you to remember. Probably nobody would ever speak of this data. It is just to know where Sri Suktam is from. So, I am giving you that extra information as an introduction to Sri Sukta. So, the mandala that it comes from is named as Atreya mandala, and it is in the 5th mandala. The Sri Sukta has 15 mantras. That is why it is called Pancha Dasharcha. At the end of Falashruti, when you start chanting the Falashruti, they say Pancha Dasharcha Sri Suktam Japet Sada. So, why is it called Pancha Dasharcha? It is because they are talking about that collection of the Khila mantras, which is in the appendix, the mandala of Atreya, which has got 15 mantras, Panchadasha, 15. There are many other mantras added in, as the Purvokta and the Phalashruti, they are added in. And with regards to that, I have a personal pet peeve. Many of the newly educated into the spiritual field make their own standpoints, because they hear little bit of Vedanta and then they get into learning these mantras and they become really inspired, and they end up learning it half. Whether it is Vishnu Sahasranama, whether it is Lalita Sahasranama, or whether it is whatever it is, they very proudly also say, I read only the mantra portion of it, not the Phalashruti. Why? I am not intending to read this for any phala. Phalashruti also is a very good resource for us to understand the mantra itself. Now, this generation does not learn Phalashruti. Good that they showed some interest, learnt it, but did not learn Phalashruti. By next generation, what will happen? The Phalashruti is forgotten. All the beautiful things that have been said in that Phalashruti are lost. So, do not make it a convenience standpoint. Chant it completely. Learn it completely. You may not wish to ask for those things, but learn it completely. So, having said that, coming back to Sri Sukta, it becomes quite popular because all the Devi Puja, Devi Archana is done through Sri Sukta Vidhan. Usually the pujas are done of Lakshmi, Durga, Saraswati, and more than Narayana, we love Lakshmi. Why? We have only one equation, Lakshmi equals bank balance. And so this is quite popular. And because of that popularity of Lakshmi, we worship her through Sri Suktam. So Sri Suktam also has become popular. Almost everybody, in almost every household, at least as a parayana without the swaras, at least they chant it. So Sri Sukta. Within this Sri Sukta, she is Shri as the primordial cause for everything, as the Adi Parashakti. She is also recognized as Narayani, Narayani meaning the consort of Narayana. She is also recognized as Trayambake, Trayambake Gauri. So Trayambake Gauri, she is also recognized as Parvati. So everybody is like, how can it be? We thought, Brahma's wife is different, Vishnu's wife is different, Shiva's wife is different. They are Saraswati, then Lakshmi, then Durga or Parvati. And how can Sri Suktam extol all three of them in the same thing? It's confusing. They are talking from the highest standpoint, that Parabrahma Paramatma expressing as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha and their Shaktis. Without their Shaktis, what is Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara? And where did that Shakti come from? That Shakti is also that Parabrahma Paramatma Adi Parashakti only expressing. So she is the one who is expressing as Lakshmi, as Saraswati, as Parvati. So don't get confused again. That is why I went into the explanation of the Parabrahma Paramatma being recognized and named differently by different worshippers. But that naming should not confuse us. Is there anybody who has more than two names? Do you get confused? Don't you respond to people when whichever name they call you? Now officially I have been given the name Swami Sarveshananda. Officially, as in the sannyas ashrama. But in the paperwork, because the documentation to change the name on passport, on everything, once it starts on one thing, then it has to be a continuous process of change in all these documents, which takes almost like 7 to 8 months to bring in a change. So I am still holding a passport which calls me as Brahmachari Uddhav Chaitanya. So and I am passing through the the, what do you call it, port of entry, and they said, are you Brahmachari Uddhav Chaitanya? No, I am in a fix. Am I? Am I not? And if I end up saying I was, it will only confuse him. Either names, it is me that is being recognized, and you still answer. Similarly, Parabrahma, Paramatma with these different names should not get us confused. Is that clear? That aspect has to be very clear before we understand the meaning. Now the word Shri, Sri Sukta, right? The word Shri, the root word or the dhatu is from Shri. Shri is the root word. Shri means to take refuge, Sharanagati, Ashrita, that who is the final refuge for everyone in this universe. That aspect or that Parabrahma Paramatma is called Shri. So the etymological derivation of it, Shriyate sarvaihi iti Shri, which means that primordial cosmic energy who is the final refuge for all creatures. So such, conscious principle is being worshipped or recognized in the word Shri. And since it is in a Strilinga, we recognize it with the feminine form and use it for the feminine goddesses worship. And I might also claim here that I think it is only in Hinduism or the various derivatives of Hinduism wherein you will find woman or feminine form as worshipful, various aspects of. The reason I use the word derivatives of Hinduism also, because somebody said, no Swamiji, it is not just Hinduism, even Buddhism has it. Buddhism, the names are also Kali and all these names are nothing but derivatives from Hinduism. So I call that as derivative. It is only in the Hindu religion that we find that woman is, or the feminine form, feminine aspect is deemed as worshipful. In Markandeya Purana, that is why most of us know it, we chant it, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena Samsthita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Shri is worshipped as Lakshmi and Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. In everybody, it is that conscious principle which is enlivening. To such Lakshmi, I bow down in humility. I offer my salutations. This should not confuse us. In the Dakshinamurti Samhita, it very beautifully puts it. It says, Yoshit Purusha Rupena Sprihante Vishwamatrika. Though the word syllable is denoting feminine gender, Shrihi, but it is that primordial or the cosmic form which expresses both as the masculine and the feminine. Yoshit Purusha Rupena, both forms express. If there is a piece of clay, marble or whatever it is, you carve, you sculpt. Now whichever form that you can sculpt, it will be recognized as that Devi or that Deva. But stone as such has no gender and it supports either one, even at a physical level. Similarly, the conscious principle does not have, that is why the conscious principle is always recognized Brahman. Brahman is neither masculine nor feminine, it is a neuter gender, that which can express both as the masculine and the feminine. So, do not take the limitations of being a human being and the oppression or the suppression between masculine and feminine aspects here into the divine aspects and create confusion there. So, when they say Purusha Sukta, they are talking about that conscious principle. When they are talking about Sri Sukta, they are talking about that conscious principle alone. In, I think, Devi Upanishad, when mother is asked, Adi Parashakti is asked, who are you? So, in her response, she says, I am that Brahman from which both Prakriti and Purusha express. Okay, I am that conscious principle from whom both the Prakriti as well as Purusha and his Shakti, both of them express from that conscious principle alone. So, let that understanding be firm in and through this entire effort of understanding Sri Sukta. We have been blessed by two great masters. Of course, Veda Vyasa Maharshi has already given us Vedas. To those Vedas, there were these two brothers and they were amazingly scholarly. One was known as Vidyaranya, who established the Vijayanagara empire by initiating Harihara and Bukkaraya. His brother was known as Shayanacharya. Now, what to talk of him? Now, both were amazingly scholarly. Shayanacharya spent his entire life in writing commentary to every single mantra and every single word of the entire Vedic literature. So, those of us who know those commentaries, when we comment on Purusha Sukta, Sri Sukta, all these Vedic literature, we take support of Shayanacharya and his commentary. Though there are lots of English translations of it by Westerners, I have read through at least 6-7 of them, only to be disappointed that they have not done justice to the words that Shayanacharya has expressed. English has its own limitations. I was not too pleased with any of the translations, but most of you are learning Sanskrit, I hear. It has become a popular class. So, pretty soon I wish and pray that you be able to understand enough Sanskrit that you can understand direct Sanskrit translations or direct Sanskrit commentaries given by Shayanacharya. The other one, the other great master is Prithvidharacharya. He has also done, but not that very popular, but he has also given us good commentaries on the entire Vedic literature. So, there is a source of reference for many of us is the Shayanacharya's commentary on the Vedic literature, very exhaustively given. And if you can understand Sanskrit, his work is a thrill to go through. It is that amazing, beautiful. Other than that, there are many other works not directly focusing on Sri Sukta alone, but while trying to explain the entire Devi, Tantra, Mantra and all these aspects, they have also touched upon Sri Suktam in their explanations. Some works are like Shri Tattva, Shri Vidya Vilasa. So, if you ever come across in a library or in a bookstore, these titles, do pick and try to read. You will get a beautiful commentary on Sri Suktam in there. Now, some empirical things about Sri Suktam. There are 15 mantras. Each mantra is attributed to a Rishi. Rishi, by definition, is a mantra drashtaraha. Mantra drashtaraha, in their deep absorbed meditative states, these mantras revealed unto them. When they were meditating on Saguna Sakara or Nirguna Nirakara Upasana, while they were meditating, these mantras were revealed to them in their meditation. It was not that they were hallucinating or imagining, but it was instructed to them. And they in turn gave this revealed mantra to different parampara of Guru and Sishyas. So, each mantra is revealed to a Rishi, and each mantra is fixed in a certain chanda. Chanda meaning meter. Like Bhagavad Gita is in a meter. What meter it is? Okay, good. A good Sanskrit student. It is in the Anushtup Chandas. Anushtup Chandas means it has 32 syllables, 4 quarters. So, each quarter has 8 syllables in it. The entire Gayatri mantras, or they are called Mula mantras. They are also known as Gayatri mantras. And whenever I say Gayatri mantra, what is the first mantra that reflects into your mind? Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Saviturvarenyam. That is the mantra that clicks. There are as many forms of gods, there are that many Gayatri mantras. Om Tat Purushaya Vidmahe. When you start chanting the Rudra Gayatri. Ekadantaya Vidmahe. Ganesha Gayatri. Why are they called Gayatri? Because they are in a certain meter, and that meter has 24 syllables, and they are broken down into 3 parts, each part carrying 8 syllables. So, there are various such meters. So, Anushtup, then you have Upendra Vajra, Indra Vajra, Shardula Vikridita, and these are all different meters. Like in India, like in English, you have ode. Is it a meter? It is a poem, but it is called an ode because it is written in that meter. So, the meter is the ode. So, there are various meters. Similarly, in Sanskrit, it is a meter. Why is the meter necessary? In the old format of writing down the entire, compiling the entire Vedas, they did not have the punctuation marks, comma, full stop. These are borrowed from the Roman languages. Originally, there is no full stop, comma or any such punctuations in Sanskrit literature. None whatsoever. So, if you look at the old texts of Mahabharata or Ramayana, it is like a continuous words, pages after pages, And you look at it, sit there, look at it and say, "No, how do I, where do I start, where do I stop?" It's confusing. And not for that person who has learnt Sanskrit, understood the meter. So, right in the beginning, every mantra gives us that instruction. Like say you are chanting Vishnu Sahasranama. In the Vishnu Sahasranama, before you do the Sankalpa, there is Hridayanyasa, Karanyasa, Anganyasa. There is this particular portion wherein it says that Veda Vyaso Bhagavan Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha. So, this whole mantra is in Anushtup Chanda. So, you start from Vishwam, end it at the 32nd syllable, and the logical breaking of these words will happen after every 8 syllables. And once you start knowing that how to do the Sandhi Vicheda, then reading it becomes easy. Now it has become more easy when you have already applied these punctuations, but when you take an older text, printed old, some books I have which are like 150 years old, 170 years old. So when you to turn the page, you have to be really careful. And you read that script, there is no punctuation whatsoever. But they will give you, the author, the poet will give you what chanda it is in. Understanding the chanda, you will be able to understand the entire script. So the chanda, each mantra has a chanda, and each mantra invokes a certain aspect of deity. Why am I going in this much of detail? Because when we start the mantra, the first mantra itself can be confusing. Hiranyavarnam Harinim Suvarnarajatasrajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Mamavaha. You start with Hiranyavarnam Harinim, and then you suddenly telling Jatavedo Mamavaha. Jataveda means fire. Whom are you worshipping here? Are you worshipping Devi, or are you worshipping Shri as the primordial cause? Are you worshipping fire? So, understanding who is the propitiated Devata in that mantra helps us sort out the understanding and meaning of it. And then there is a ritual application, meaning a practical application of this mantra in our day-to-day life. Usually the practical application of these mantras are at 3 levels: Adi, Bhautika, Adi Daivika, and Adhyatmika. So once you understand, see, when I start going into the depths of explanation, I will have all these different aspects. At that time, don't keep wondering why is he explaining it in this angle, because that is how the mantra will be made easier for us to understand. So, I am just introducing you to the process of understanding of the mantra. So, now having introduced you to the different aspects of mantra, where it falls, what part, what book does it come in? It comes in Rig Veda, it comes in the Khila mantra sections. In the Khila mantra section, it comes in the Atreya mandala, which is the 5th mandala. In that 5th mandala, it comes in the last part of that Atreya mandala. And when they talk about Shri, they are not talking about a feminine aspect, but they are talking about the conscious principle alone. That etymological derivation of Sri Suktam. Imagine, just to talk on the word Sri Suktam, takes me 1 hour. To go on with each word, I think I have to hurry up. So, let us chant the first mantra. If you have your gadgets, pads, notes, notebooks, you can download it from our website. It is on the downloads and handbook section, Vedic chanting section. In that Vedic chanting section, you have it in Sanskrit, English transliterated version, Telugu, Kannada and Tamil. So you can download it in any book, any format that you want to, and it will be convenient for you to chant it. And if you bring it as a printout, it will be easier for you to write down the notes if necessary. You are too sophisticated and directly typing it in, it's a totally different picture. So from tomorrow onwards, if you can bring yourself a copy of that printout, it is downloadable, it is free, there is no fee. So bring a printout version so that you can also participate in chanting and learning it. So repeat after me. Hiranyavarnam harinim suvarna rajatasrajam chandram hiranmayim lakshmim Jatavedo ma'avaha. So, as I already introduced, the first mantra is not addressing Lakshmi Devi. Whom is it being addressed to? Jatavedo, hey Jataveda, ma'avaha. Jatavedo, O Lord, fire. There are various meanings of Jataveda, we will get to that aspect, just the word meaning right now. O Jataveda, hey Jataveda, Lakshmim ma avaha. Usher, bring Lakshmi unto me. Which Lakshmi? Subha Lakshmi? That to MS Subha Lakshmi? Or Vijay Lakshmi? Or there are so many Lakshmis that we have named. Which Lakshmi are you talking about? No, none of these. Which are you talking about? Which Lakshmi are you talking about? Hiranyavarnam harinim suvarna rajatasrajam chandram hiranmayim, that Lakshmi. So until now, the first 1.5 lines, they are the attributes. They are the different aspects of that Lakshmi which the seeker is asking that Lord of Fire to bring. So who is this Lakshmi? Hiranyavarnam, the one who has bright golden hue as a color. See, we know of people who are white skin, black skin, wheatish skin. We seldom call ourselves as brown, we call ourselves wheatish. Hindi में भी गेहूं जैसा सांवला. Somebody who has that dusky color of a grain of wheat, brown. But when you listen to the description of all these gods, they have a different glow, and the glow is usually explained. Hiranyavarnam, glowing like polished gold, shining forth, beaming forth. Hiranyavarnam, harinim, the one who is delicate and beautiful, like harini. Harini, like a deer, who is delicate as well as beautiful. You may be living in the place where there are a lot of deers, but when you see a deer, don't you just pause, look? So beautiful. Look at the eyes, the way it delicately moves its head, the way it delicately, suddenly stops, pauses, takes stock of things around. That agility, that beauty, that which the deer represents, she is like that. Beautiful like a deer. Suvarna Rajatasrajam. And she is the one, the enchanting form, who is wearing the necklace, mala. What kinds of mala is she wearing? Suvarna Rajata. Sraja means a necklace. Now, what kind of necklaces is she wearing? She is wearing Suvarna. Suvarna is gold. Rajata is silver. So, she has a gold medal and a silver medal. So, she is wearing a garland of gold and silver. There are various interpretations of each one of these words. O Jataveda, I invoke you, I request you to bring unto me that Lakshmi who is glowing like the gold, who is beautiful like a deer, who is shining, wearing this beautiful garland of gold and silver. Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim. And whenever you talk of glow, it is not like, even the sun glows, but it scorches. Is her glow also that scorching? No. It is as pleasant a glow as Chandram, the glow of a moon. See, one poet describes that no doubt, no wonder, that sun is beautiful. He nourishes us, he gives us heat and light, but more than the sun, it is the moon that I pray and invoke, the poet says. And I asked him why. The sun has this heat, moon has neither light nor heat. It borrows the sun's heat and light, transforms it into soothing, pleasurable glow. So, Lakshmi Devi also is not here with a scorching glow that you can't see, you can't open your eyes. All our gods are described with that glow. Ganesha Stuti, Vakratunda Mahakaya. What is the next line? Koti Surya, Surya Koti, doesn't matter. Samaprabha, the one who is glowing like crores of these suns put together. One sun itself we cannot see. Have you ever driven in a precarious condition wherein the car is going in an angle and the sun is setting right there? How much ever you put that, what do you call it, visor? There is no wisdom in it. Why? In spite of that, it hits directly into your eyes. One sun itself is enough to bother us. That too, it is a setting sun, not even the midday sun. It happened once, and that street is also called Sunset Boulevard. I think it is in Seattle. Sunset Boulevard and Seattle. Setting in the west, and that setting sun directly hits into your eye. Do whatever, you cannot avoid that glaring sun. If one sun itself is bothering, imagine Koti Surya Samaprabha, must be really bothersome. I said, no. Chandram, glowing with a soothing radiance like the moon. Hiranmayim, yet glowing. Though it is soothing, it doesn't mean that suddenly the glow has gone. Glowing yet soothing. Chandram, Hiranmayim, Lakshmim, Jatavedo Ma'avaha. See, whenever we start any prayer, any such event, Shubha Karikrama. Usually all our Karikramas should be Shubha only. So when you start any kind of program, any kind of event, what do we start with? First, we start with lighting the lamp. Not the electric lamp, not the LEDs. Today, these days you get those, tower of LEDs. It look beautiful, but not similar to the same effect of having a lamp lit. Even here we have the lamps lit first. We first invoke God fire. Why do we invoke fire? He is the transportation and telecommunication department in charge. So one day I was in, I think this was in Vijayawada. A very rich family invited me to their house for Bhiksha. A very rich family. I mean, in Vijayawada, they had a house which was 8,000 square foot. So you can imagine, with a backyard, front yard, servant quarters, all the shenanigans that go with it. And that person by mistake heard me somewhere and he said, I wanted to clarify certain doubts, will you come? So I went. So it was, he invited I think for breakfast, and he first took me around to his palatial building, and on the second floor he has a rooftop garden. It is all soil on the second floor, an amazing what do you call, lawn and great beautiful flowered, there were all these butterflies and it was very beautiful. So from there you could see the entire down part of his house. So there was a nice swing, 2 swings. So he offered me one swing to sit, he sat in another swing and he took me for a swing. Downstairs there was another garden with all these vines hanging, the breakfast was being arranged there. And he wanted to pull a fast one, practical one on me. So after being served, so the lady, his wife, she looked up and said, you can come down for breakfast, everything is ready. And this person doesn't talk of leaving from there. I said, should we go for breakfast? He said, no, eat from here. I said, how is it possible? I said, precisely my question also. When we do all these kinds of, kriya karma, or the karma kanda, wherein, you do the last rites, and yearly you are asked to do the last rites for somebody who is already departed, and you leave the pinda tarpana here in this world, saying that this will feed that last one, because for them the time frame changes, for them 365 days here is one day for them, and it is like feeding them every day. I have questions about that too, but just this aspect that I give it here physically, how is it going to go there when nobody is coming to eat it here? If that is possible, then it should be possible for you to eat breakfast from here. It is served downstairs. I give you the privilege of seeing it and eating it here. A very practical fellow. So I told him. His one son was studying in US or still lives in US, I think. So I said, does your son make money by writing? He said, no, Swamiji. Where is he going to be a writer? I said, no, he writes you letters and you send him money. That way he is writing and he is earning money. Do you send money to him? I said, yes. How do you send money? So, what is that wire transfer called? Western Union. So, he said, I use Western Union. I put money here and the same evening he can get the money there. Does he get it in Indian rupees? Same denomination that you put in here, does he get it? No, no, no. He gets equivalent of it converted to the currency of that country. In US dollars he gets it. So he doesn't get exactly the same thing, but does get the worth it back there. So what does the Western Union do? It transfers the worth, this amount, back to the person concerned as we asked for. Similarly, when you offer the Pinda Tarpana or any such program that we do, we start with fire, we light the lamp, that has a significance. To whomsoever we are invoking and dedicating our that puja, upasana or japa, the fire takes the subtle form of energy to the other worlds, to the deity intended that we have offered these salutations to. So even that Pinda Tarpana, when it is given, it is not like food kept in your fridge, yesterday's food or something which was lying there, you make 3 balls and put it there. It is fresh cooked food which is warm. That warmth, the heat, is the transferring agency which takes the subtle energy to the other world. I have told you the concept. Now how to prove it? Go prove. No, sorry, how does it transfer? Create a gadget, find it yourself. I have told you the technique. Fire is the transferring agency. Similarly, when we do the Havan and Yagna, karma, we invoke fire first. And that fire invocation is also a laborious process. You don't take out your lighter and light a lamp and suddenly it starts. There is a process called churning of fire. There are 2 wooden bowls, there is a stick, wooden stick, and there are 3 healthy people who are churning that wood, creating that friction in that piece of wood, and they have cotton, fiber, jute and other things. They immediately add into it, which catches fire, and then they ignite that fire. That also is a process of sanctity. Fire is the first one invoked. Hey Jataveda, unto you the messenger, I am offering the prayers, requesting you to bring that fire, that Lakshmi Devi whom I have described unto me and bless me so that I will be bestowed by her grace. Jatavedo ma'avaha. This is one meaning. Second meaning of it is, Jataveda also means that glowing one. Hiranyavarnam harinim. Hiranyavarnam, the one who is glowing. Jataveda can be an attribute of that glow. So it is not that they are invoking a separate fire. This is the second meaning that I am giving. First one is the fire. The second meaning is that we are directly talking to Mother herself in that form, Lakshmi Devi herself, who has another name called Jataveda. Hey Jataveda, O Mother, please come unto me. Please bless me with your divine form and presence. Jata Vedo Vai Purushaha Purushat Evam Veda. Jata Veda is also known as, or it also is interpreted as, the very form of Vedas, all the knowledge that we know of. How did we know to worship Lakshmi Devi? How did we know anything? It was through the Vedas that were sanctioned and given to us. So, the entire Vedic literature is also known as Jata Veda. So, hey Veda, help me reach, help me attain the presence and glory of Mother Lakshmi Devi so that I can be bestowed upon by her grace. Jata Veda is also the name of Narayana himself. Because Vedas are nothing but the expression of Narayana. So, the one who has given us the Vedas can also be recognized as Jata Veda. So, instead of asking Lakshmi ji, you are asking the permission of Mr. Lakshmi. And he doesn't feel bad if I call him Mr. Lakshmi. As many of the husbands feel really awkward. Swami ji, क्या सबके सामने ऐसे बुला दिया? What, you are not? There was this lady, Sunita. Her husband was there. Hey Sunita Pati, I said. सबके सामने ऐसे बुला दिया. What, did I tell you something wrong? Are you not Sunita Pati? No, but you don't recognize him. And God himself doesn't have a problem. What is Narayana's name? Isn't he recognized as Lakshmi Pati? Sridhara. Meaning that the one who is Mr. Lakshmi. So, Jata Veda is also the meaning for Lord Narayana himself. O Narayana, O Jata Veda, please, I am praying unto you that may your Shakti Swarupini Lakshmi Devi, may Mother come down in this beautiful form so that she will bless me with all the glow and glory of her presence. Jata Vedo Ma'avaha. See, one word, how many different kinds of meanings that you can interpret it in. Now, whom are you inviting? Whom do you want to come and bless? Lakshmi Ma'avaha. What does the word Lakshmi mean? There are 2-3 ways of interpreting the word Lakshmi. Is there anybody? I know one with the name Lakshmi here. Okay. So, this is the meaning of your names. La means to bring, to give, to bestow. Not in Hindi. Hindi mein la give. Here it means to bestow, to bless, to part. La means that. Kshmi, the root word is kshipa. Kshipa has 2 meanings. One to throw and the other one to inspire. So, here we take the meaning of inspire. So, Lakshmi effectively means the one who bestows upon us, who gives us wealth of knowledge and inspires us to the highest state of realizing one's own true nature. And the second meaning of Lakshmi is Lakshmi, the word itself means a mark or a sign. Lakshmi means a sign, a mark. A mark of what? In the Nirukta written by Yaskaracharya. So, he says that Lakshmi is represents all those signs which indicate happiness, welfare that one desires. And that is why Lakshmi Devi is different forms, different aspects. What are the things that give us happiness? Even in the mortal sense, dhanam, dhanyam, pashum, bahuputra labham, shata samvatsaram, dirghamayuhu. All these are different aspects of Lakshmi Devi alone. Dhana Lakshmi, Dhanya Lakshmi, Vijaya Lakshmi, Santana Lakshmi, Dhairya Lakshmi, Saubhagya Lakshmi, Vijaya Lakshmi, all these are different aspects of Lakshmi. So all these signs which gives us happiness and welfare, all the signs of happiness and welfare is called Lakshmi Devi. In fact, somewhere it is also described, I think it is Vidyaranya who describes, Vidyaranya Swamiji, he describes that the glow in the sun, doesn't it give us happiness? Imagine if 3 days of gloomy environment, it's not even raining, it is drizzling, it's clouded, you go outside, it feels dark. And they say they have a deep impact on our behavioral pattern also. I know the abbreviated thing, they call it SAD, seasonal something, it comes so the seasons impact. So places like Seattle, or where there is long winters, there are high cases of depression. They don't see the sun. I have been only once to Seattle. While I was in the flight, I saw the sun. Okay, then we entered the clouds into the city. 7 days, only clouds. And I took off, the flight took off, again I saw sun. And people live there continuously, 7 days, 365 days. Maybe I am exaggerating, because 7 days I saw only clouds. High states of. So the glow in the sun, butter in the milk, fire in the oil, all these different aspects, they are the signs of health, wealth, happiness, prosperity. So wherever these signs are there, that which is expressing is called Lakshmi. So such Lakshmi, Ma'avaha, may she come unto me and bless me. Lakshmi also means that which takes us to the Lakshya, that energy, that which takes us to the Lakshya goal. And what is the purpose of all our lives? Don't tell me to feed my family, to take care of children, they are the responsibilities, they are not purpose of life. Realizing one's own true nature, having realized which, it is the highest state of happiness, and the one who is happy alone can give others happiness. That is the purpose of life. That energy which takes us to that Lakshya. So Lakshmi Devi is also the indicative meaning of the entire Kundalini Shakti. The serpent power, as they call it, translated in English, Kundalini is often, it is often worshipped as Lakshmi Devi, because that energy takes us to the salvation or the highest point, which is Sahasrara. So when you are reading Lalita Sahasranama, so you break the barriers of the earlier 6 chakras, and that energy which breaks all these barriers of at 6 chakras to take you to the final goal of the Sahasrara, that Shakti is called Lakshmi, because it takes you to the Lakshya. So that which inspires us to reach to the Lakshya, to the goal, is called Lakshmi. Such Lakshmi may I invoke with your blessings, O Jataveda. Hiranyavarnam Harinim, that glowing one whose mere presence inspires me to reach there. See, at one level they are talking about that which gives us immediate happiness at a physical level. So that which gives me immediate pleasure, I am hungry, so give me food. So that is the expression of Lakshmi Devi. I am in poverty, give me wealth. I am in a lot of wealth, so give me peace. These are different aspects of Lakshmi Devi that we seek at a very peripheral level. But at a very deep adhyatmic level, what is that Lakshmi? That energy, that source which inspires me to reach to that highest state, highest goal. Even in Vyavahara, when you take that example, take that meaning and implement it, that clarity which takes me to the goal, that clarity which keeps me inspired to reach to that goal, that clarity is the Lakshmi dawned in my life. Hence, therefore, all the mantras, especially the Gayatri mantras, what do they focus? Dhiyo yonah prachodayat. May you always illumine as clarity in my intellect. Because that clarity is nothing but Lakshmi Devi's blessings or her very presence in our life. So such Lakshmi Devi, O Jataveda, please bring her into my life. Such clarity bring into my life. Having thus invoked, we will proceed further. From tomorrow it should pick pace into different words and different mantras that we have. We will see it from tomorrow. The reason I went in such depth with Jataveda and the other instructions is that once this is understood, to understand not just Sri Suktam but even understanding Durga Suktam becomes easier, because I don't need to introduce all this again in a different level. So once and for all, it's a all encompassing introduction. So hopefully with her blessings, with her inspiration, we will understand the rest of the mantras. There are 15 of them, 14 one we have seen, 14 more to see. We will see it in next few days. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.